I'm going to teach you how to beat your debt collector in court using something called requests for production. Now, after a lawsuit starts, they've served you with a summons, you've responded with an answer. The next phase of a case is called discovery. And during discovery, the parties send each other written requests for information. And one of those documents that the debt collector may send you is called a request for production of documents. It'll be a list of questions asking you to produce any documents that you have that are relevant to the case. You're required to answer these within a set period of time. It's usually around 28 to 30 days, depending on the state. And if you don't respond to those, then the other side can file a motion for default or summary judgment saying you haven't cooperated in participating in the case. Now, what I'm going to teach you today is to turn that process and flip it around on the debt collector and use it against them. The first thing you need to know is a third-party debt collector has to prove two things in a debt collection case, and they have the burden of proof to prove this. You don't have to disprove it, they have to prove it. They, number one, have to prove that you owe the debt. And number two, they have to prove that they own the debt. Now, what they do to prove that you owe the debt is they would show, for example, the original contract that you signed, or if it's a doctor or a medical bill, the original documents you signed there in the doctor's office. Or if it's like a payday loan, then they're going to show the documents you signed. Or if it's a credit card, the original credit card agreement, something like that. You're going to send them a request for production of documents that asks for any documents that they claim show that you owe the debt. And then you can get more specific than that too. You can ask for, I want statements, I want receipts, I want a full accounting, any documents that you have that show the amount that I owe and justifying that I owe. Now, the second thing is you've got to get them to give you documents that show that they own the debt. So this is going to be like a third-party debt collector purchases the debt from the original creditor, and there should be some kind of written contract or agreement showing that that debt was validly purchased. So your next request for production of documents is going to be a request for any documents that demonstrate that you own or you have the right to collect on this debt. So what happens then is you send that off, and then after 28, 30 days, whatever the deadline is, the debt collector should respond and provide those documents to you. You can then take a look at those documents and say, well, I don't think that these documents really show that I owe the debt or that they own the debt. Or you may look at it and say, well, yeah, they have a pretty good case against me, and then you're going to have to talk settlement. But if you think that the documents don't do a good job of showing that you owe and they own, then you can feel pretty confident going into court that you're going to win that case. But what would really be best is if they don't respond at all. That means they probably don't have the documents necessary to show that you owe and they own. And this is not uncommon with third-party debt collectors. They just buy all this junk debt and they maybe don't have all the documentation they need to prove it. Especially if maybe they don't have good contact with the original creditor, where they can maybe get some of those original documents. And if they don't have those documents, they don't send them to you in response to a request for production, then you're going to file a motion for summary judgment saying that they have to prove that you owe the debt and they own it. And they can only do that by producing the documents that demonstrate that. And you've asked for them and they haven't provided them. And since they haven't provided them, the court should grant summary judgment and your case should be dismissed. So that is how you beat a debt collector in court using requests for production of documents. If you need more help with this, you can head to debtbrief.com. We've got forms that will help you draft requests for production of documents. We've got a set of requests for production of documents questions that you can ask. If you've been sent requests for production of documents, we've got forms that will help you respond to those. Motion forms that will help you file a motion for summary judgment. And of course, if you want to meet with me, I can teach you how to do all this stuff in a video call. So head to debtbrief.com if you want to learn more.